Good afternoon and welcome to Camelot Castle TV network. It is a pleasure to welcome you here to Camelot Castle. And Anthony, good afternoon from a very windy Western Superman. Now, I do have some news for you all. The level of censorship in the world has, of course, reached all new heights. And yesterday, for pointing out something that really is just common sense to anybody with any common sense left, I have been fully censored from Twitter. So my entire Twitter account has been suspended, and this of course is actually doesn't worry me in the slightest, because it had become a very boring platform since they also censored the previous president of the United States. So obviously one is in good company. And the interesting thing is that truth always finds a way to get through. I always like to say in life, one door closes and another door opens. But I'm afraid to say that I will not be able to share my views with you over Twitter. And some of you may say, well, what a tremendous relief that is. But in fact, I will miss some of the interchange with those of you that are still sane and have common sense. But an awful lot of people on there, frankly, are quite loopy and have been fully and utterly brainwashed. So it will probably be a very, very welcome relief. So thank you, Twitter, for showing us the way. Susie Chandler said, Twitter did it to me too. Anthony Bond says, I deleted my Twitter. So there we go. We're all in good company. Now, the very good news is Camelot Castle is fully open for business, and the crumpet and the tarts are flowing, and people are enjoying them again, and the weather here in Cornwall is absolutely fantastic at the moment. It was a little bit windy yesterday, but I tell you what, today is a gorgeous, gorgeous day on the north coast of Cornwall. Now, you know, what are we to do? There is all sorts of things on the horizon that we should definitely try to avoid. Further lockdowns, I think we should definitely try to avoid. Passports, I think we should definitely try to avoid. You know, these COVID passports, or whatever they're calling them now, digital, they've come up with a euphemism for them now. So these sorts of things are a restriction on freedom. And all I'm going to advise you to do is, I mean, Camelot Castle is full to the gunnels. And I want to thank all of you that have booked in here to stay. I think we only have, you know, 5 or 6 rooms a week left across the whole of the summer, and our holiday apartments are now up and running. There'll be some new holiday apartments coming, so we look forward to welcoming you. You're always welcome to pop in for a cup of tea and to say hello. It has been a great pleasure being in communication with you. Please, 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 those of you that do have strong opinions as they relate to freedom, communicate them. Now is not the time to not communicate. Laurie Ford says, hello John from beautiful Florida. Well, Florida of course is flourishing. You've got a sane governor, Governor DeSantis. Our dear friend Nigel Farage has been in Florida and of course met with President Trump. He had a 40-minute private audience with him, and when he comes back to this country, I'm sure he's going to let us know some of the things that he discussed. He is doing very, very well. The other thing that I want to draw your attention to is our Dutch green business, our new company that we helped launch in its new incarnation. We took over, or helped take over, a very exciting company on the Dutch Stock Exchange. Is doing very, very well. When we got involved, it was 66p a share, and the shares have been trading steadily at between 150. They've been up as high as €2.28 actually. They traded on Friday at about 169 was the close. Do take the time. This is a very, very exciting space. Do take the time to find out about DGB. You will find it if you Google John Mappin DGB or John Mappin Dutch Green Business or Nigel Farage Dutch Green Business. You will read all about it. Now, basically in simple terms, we now have the solution two climate concerns. A lot of people out there are concerned about the climate, and they argue that levels of carbon in the atmosphere have everything to do with climate. Well, whether you agree with that or not, our goal is to plant 3 trillion trees. As you know, we already secured the President's agreement to plant 1 trillion trees. Our goal is to plant 3 trillion trees. That will sequester over 50 tons of, over 50 gigatons, sorry, of carbon planet-wide. Human beings are only producing, the planet is only producing 35 gigatons a year. So if we are successful in that, which I think we will be, that will of course put the climate concerns to bed. So very, very, Bear Swanson, lovely to see you too. Christine Rust, thank you so much. Christine, I think, is a shareholder of DGB, and any of you can buy shares. If you're in America, you can buy shares through Charles Schwab. Charles Schwab, their foreign desk, knows exactly how to do that. And if you are in England, well, any stockbroker, Hargreaves, can help you out with that, or any of the stockbrokers really in England, and of course in Holland. You'll have every single possible way of getting hold of those stocks. So of course I would never tell anybody to buy a stock or sell a stock or do anything like that. All I'm telling you is I'm involved. I have some stock. Nigel Farage is heading up our advisory board, and what a great job he's doing. And he's been actually in America talking to people about DGB there and doing a great job. Torben Markussen says, hello from Denmark, Copenhagen. I just really wanted to acknowledge here and get on. I haven't spoken to you for a while because we've been extremely active with all the various different games that we've been playing. But I just want to advise each and every one of you to keep communicating the truth. Don't fail to communicate the truth. There is, see, look at this, Rock & Co. Can't even go shopping unless I get tested in Germany. Look at that. That is terrible. We have to keep communicating. You know, truth eventually will win out, but we will not go back to anything resembling normality if we stop communicating. We have to keep on communicating, and I would very, very much like to, let you know that. It is important that we do communicate, so important. As I say, the news of today is that I have been censored on Twitter. My account has been suspended for really, as I see it, communicating nothing more than common sense. Nothing more than common sense. Camelot Castle is open, and it's very strange. I don't know why, but I just walked into the tea room and I did not see a mask inside. So either the tide is changing, or the tide that is flowing through our doors are, part of the more enlightened members of our society, or it could just be a lot of people with hidden disabilities. I don't know. And of course we would never question here whether or not somebody had a hidden disability. Now, staying this weekend, we have UK Unlock, which is a freedom fighting group of about 40 people, and they all came to stay this weekend. They're headed up by James Melville, who some of you will know on Twitter. And we just had a meeting here in the Blue Room this morning with about 30 or 40 people, and all sorts of plans are being made to improve the campaign. Camelot Castle is actually becoming a hub of freedom. And if any of you out there have any groups or people who you want to use Camelot as a place to have a meeting, to gather like-minded people, please do let them know. Marilyn Horner says, we have freedom fighters in Canada opening businesses, corrupt politicians trying to extend lockdown to December. It's unbelievable. And please, even though our government has told us, and this is what became very, very clear this morning, even though our government has told us that this will be the last lockdown, I have already been hearing, funnily enough, from some ladies in the Tintagel nursing home. Last night they came and had a drink here, and we met them, lovely, lovely girls. And they told us very clearly that they've been told to stock up on PPE, protection equipment, because there will be another lockdown in October. Now, for people to be communicating that now, the fact that they're planning so far ahead without any data whatsoever to suggest that there will be a resurgence, our view is we've got to learn to live with this. Kiki Fink says, love, love, love your tree initiative. A lot of people do. Nigel Farage loved it so much that he's now heading up our advisory board and is working with us every day on DGB. In fact, he left politics, and the first thing that he announced that he was going to do after politics was join DGB. Of course, Irina and I had been talking to him about it for some months, in fact, some years, 2 years at least. We had been communicating. Shelley Bukai says, Camelot Castle, hub of freedom. Great. We are a freedom hub, we are a crumpet hub, and we are a treacle tart hub. Those are our three things. If you like freedom, if you like crumpet, if you like treacle tart and a cup of tea from time to time, or coffee, we do, I believe, serve the best coffee in Cornwall. If you like those things, do pass by Camelot Castle. And if you want to understand the tree initiative, just go to dgb.earth. I'll put the link up on the screen. But DGB stands for the Dutch Green Business. Dutch Green Business is doing fabulously well. When we acquired the company, the stock was at 66, and on Friday it closed at 169, I believe, 169. Hannah Cairns is with us. She says we had lovely scones and coffee the other day. And didn't we just have lovely scones and coffee? So if any of you have freedom fighting groups, here's the website. Christine Rust, one of the DGB shareholders, has posted this up, dgb.earth. If you're an American and you want to buy stock, you can buy it through Charles Schwab. And if you're English, you can go to any English stockbroker and you can do it that way. One of my friends said to me the other day that he was very excited about being a shareholder, and any of you, of course, are free to participate in that game. We're very excited by it as a family, and what it basically does, and the left, by the way, is not going to like it at all, just so you know. That's one of the reasons. I mean, after we announced that Nigel Farage was joining our board, of course, Greenpeace starts attacking trees. I mean, you couldn't make it up. And after Donald Trump, at our suggestion, announced the Trillion Tree Global Reforestation Project, of course, Greta Thunberg starts attacking trees. You really, really couldn't make it up. Anthony, thank you, says, thank you for all you've done over the last 15 months, John. It's been my pleasure, and it's actually been very fun. And one of the things I've learned from Nigel, I've learned a lot from Nigel Farage, actually, and there's a lot to learn from him. He's he's not right about everything, and nor am I, and nor are you. But I tell you what, he taught me something about campaigning. He said, John, we've got to be happy warriors. We've got to be happy warriors. This is really, he said, I'm not really a politician. I'm an evangelist. I'm an evangelist, but I'm evangelizing for sovereignty. He said, I'm more like a sort of a John Wesley type of a character, or a Franklin, or a Billy Graham. And of course, he's really been the Billy Graham of power of choice and sovereignty. He's a spiritual man, very good man, and we are so honoured to be working with him. Julia Galtic says, you can't make this stuff up. You absolutely can't. Now, what came out of this morning's meeting, and we had 30 of the most brilliant minds in the UK. Obviously, I'm not going to say who they are because some of them were here and are here incognito. We're having a little drinks party this evening here, and should be very positive. Obviously, segregated in groups of 6, I should imagine. How you quite do that, we're going to find out. Well, we'll do it properly because we have to stick to the law, don't we? Anyway, you can't make this stuff up. You can't make this stuff up. Yeah. What came out of today's meeting is that there is public reality, which is what most people can agree with, and that's improving. People are waking up, even at the public level. people are waking up. And then there is some of the more extreme facts out there. Now, these extreme facts do get labelled as conspiracy theories. Now, here's what I would like to point out. I am not, and never have been, a conspiracy theorist. I am purely interested in scientific evidence. You know. As many of you know, I'm a Scientologist. And one of the beauties of Scientology is that you only deal with facts. You know, there is no speculation in the subject of Scientology. If a Scientologist tells you that they believe in God, which most of them do, it's because they've got the scientific evidence for it. If they tell you that they are a spirit, which many of them do, it's because they have got scientific and empirical proof for that. And of course, those two proofs do exist within the subject of Scientology, and it is possible now to prove scientifically that there is a God, and to prove scientifically that you are yourself an immortal spirit. Now, other subjects, and even indeed other religions, do not require proof. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with you having beliefs and faiths and suppositions and assumptions. Personally, while I find them curiosities, and it's interesting to know what each different person believes, and I believe that anyone is free to believe whatever they want to believe, it's of no interest to me, personally. Even though just as a sort of, in the same way as I might be interested in reading a good book or this type of thing, but in terms of foundational things, so, and the same is true of all of the things that we've been hearing over the past few months. I am not a conspiracy theorist, and to correct some of the narrative, I am not a member of the far right. I do not support or not support the Q movement, the letter that shall not be named. For those of you that have questioned me about, well, for instance, I get asked by a lot of people, why did you fly the Q flag above the roof of Camelot? It's simply because I was one of the first people to research it, and I thought that, and I realized that many of the people that were involved with Q had done a wonderful, wonderful job of informing the world about child trafficking and paedophilia. And I personally am against child trafficking and paedophilia, and I think it should be brought to people's attention. And the one thing that movement, I really call it a broad freedom movement, the one thing that movement did do, is inform millions of you out there about political blackmail and how individuals can be blackmailed with compromising blackmail material. And you have to ask yourself, and I said this, if you haven't seen the interview that I gave to Unheard, you know, I suggest you watch that. The idea that a politician today can be blackmailed, you know, if they're shagging the secretary, is a little bit naive. It's going to take a much, much more extreme form of compromising material. So, you know, New Year's Day 2020, because I knew that this particular subject of compromising blackmail material was going to shape our world, and part of the reason that we are today witnessing and in the situation that we are in is because many of the political leaders in the West are compromised. Now, that does not suggest, and I'm not suggesting that any of them are compromised with the type of what I would call paedophilic blackmail material to which I'm referring. I'm not suggesting that they are, but then again, I'm not suggesting that they're not. So what I'm simply pointing out is that mechanism exists, it should be known about, and it should be read into. And so I advise each of you to read into these subjects, and to look at it and to remain to maintain your own circumspection. However, those areas are not real to the average person. They may wake up one in 10,000 people. But the average person, these ideas are not real. And so the great skill over the coming months is to find those things that are real to people, to find those things that are real to people, and to cleverly communicate those things. Is it, for instance, real to mothers out there that perhaps having their children in schools, looking at each other wearing masks all day long, when that really is not going to harm their health, help their health in any way, is that going to do anything? What is that going to do? But here I am again, touching on subjects. I am not here to advise you medically. All I'm asking you to do is keep questioning, keep observing, and when you communicate, try to communicate at people's reality as best you can. I think it's so important. So, just for the record, just to reiterate this, I'm purely interested in common sense. I'm interested in facts. And Camelot Castle is interested in upholding free speech. Free speech. All of these things are under assault in this country. And what we need to do is to keep, get out into the pubs. I'm not usually a pub goer, but I think I may be getting out into the pubs and talking with people and having a word with them and letting them know what I feel about various different situations. So, so important that you do keep researching, so important that you do gain understandings on the internet. But what I would ask you to do is get out and about. And if the only place you feel safe to come to is Camelot Castle, well then you're always welcome here. You will not be made to feel disabled, for instance, if you don't want to wear a mask and you have a hidden disability. So we soldier on, we continue on. The job, I'm afraid, is far from done, but we are open for business. Life is returning to normal. Life will be fully restored to normal. There are a few things that you can do that will accelerate that very, very dramatically. Firstly, support your local Church of Scientology. You would be amazed the information that the founder of Scientology discovered and what that information can do to accelerate the great awakening that is occurring. So read Dianetics, his first book. Walk into a Church of Scientology if you never have done it, and do whatever you can to help your local Church of Scientology expand, if you care for your freedom. Take a walk in nature. Get out into nature. Get out into life. For God's sake, get away from your devices and from your computers, and as addicted as we all are to them, and I'll be the first to plead slightly guilty to that. Christine Rust, here we go. Thank you so much for putting that up there. Dianetics.org. For those of you that have not read Dianetics, buy and read Dianetics. By the way, if you come across anybody at all that is depressed, Dianetics cures depression, and it can cure it in about 3 days. So also anybody that, a lot of people that have been using drugs have a serious problem with that. Make sure you find out about Narconon. It is now possible to cure any drug addict in a few weeks without using drugs. So important. The Church of Scientology into the future is going to play a major, major role in restoring sanity to this world. Ken Ferrara is on the line. Says here, also second book that Mr. Hubbard wrote, Science of Survival, chapter Sexual Behavior and Attitude Towards Children, has a section on paedophilia and similar behavior. Yes, it does, and it is very, very revealing. And it's a vital, vital read. and it will explain some of the phenomena that our society is working its way through at the moment. Now, what is our job really as freedom fighters? One of the things that we can do is we can help society work through what it is working through faster. For those of you out there that want to really be proactive, you know what I would do? I'd buy 10 copies of Dianetics and I'd give one to your 10 best friends and have them read it. For those of them that can't read, if you don't have a reading group of friends, buy the Dianetics video. Give 10 copies out to every single person that you know. And what you'll find is number one, you'll find out who your friends are very, very quickly. You'll find out those people that are sincere and those people that aren't sincere. And the second thing that will happen is that you will really, a good word is destimulate, and what that means is just reduce the anxiety in your local environment. And as I say, Dianetics cures depression. Imagine the number of people out there that have mental health issues. Now, of course, those people that are selling the psychiatric drugs are rubbing their hands with glee at the number of people that are depressed out there right now as a result of the lockdowns, because what does that give them an opportunity to sell? That gives them an opportunity to sell all of their psychiatric drugs. It gives them an opportunity to sell all of their antidepressants. And so they are banking on that being the case. Now, the fly in their ointment, so to speak, and it's been a fly in their ointment actually since 1950, which is why when you read the Daily Mail version of Scientology, it never seems to make sense. And it's an attempt to make genuine people seem like lunatics, is that Dianetics actually requires no drugs at all. It's extremely cheap, it's extremely effective, it's completely safe, and it resolves depression in a few days. So, as I say, lots happening here at Camelot. As I say, there's a meeting here, a private meeting here at the moment with 30 of the brightest. I think the total number of Twitter followers of this group is well into 10 million followers, if I add up all of the various different Twitter followings of all the people that are here today. So at one press of a button, all of us can reach, 10 million people at once. That is formidable broadcast power. And what we need to do is we need to form groups, create new groups. I've created this group here, but I've also created 20 other groups. I have WhatsApp groups, Telegram groups. Good group to follow, by the way, if you really want the meat and potatoes, because they censor the least, is Camelot TV Network. Please follow me on Camelot Castle TV Network. And Camelot TV Network, that is on the Telegram, and you can follow that. That's open to everybody. Please do follow that. It's very productive. I have to really limit what I can say on this platform. I've got to be very, very careful indeed. And it's a shame because there's truth I could tell you on here right now that would save lives immediately. And there are things going on, but you're going to have to go to the Telegram network to receive that information. So somebody says Moira Harwood, open for crumpet and tart. Our tarts here are absolutely delicious, especially the treacle tarts. Heinrich Benson says Narcanon, absolutely. It's a wonderful thing, wonderful thing. And listen, I know it's sometimes hard. Oh, thank you, Christine. Here's how you sign up for the Telegram network, Christine Russ. And there's also Camelot Castle TV chat, which is the hive mind, of course, of Camelot Castle. It's really exciting. Somebody says my videos become unfocused on Facebook. Is anybody else finding that? I do apologize. I think when it uploads it will be all right. I don't think I've said anything that would cause censorship, but you never know. You never know. I may have to create a completely new channel outside. So we've got some amazing people here. Ken says, Ken Ferrara. By the way, this fellow I've just put up on the screen, Ken Ferrara. If any of you want to know anything about Scientology in detail, friend him on Facebook, and he can spend as much time as you need understanding anything. Hannah Cairns is here. Hannah, lovely to see you. Why don't you bring your group over here for a coffee morning next week? And just because you know what, if we don't keep communicating, they are going to lock us down again in October. So it is very, very important, because the businesses that have survived up until now will not survive if they lock us down in October. They will not survive. So important that we do that. So important. And let us move forward. I've told you about DGB, the Dutch green business. Take a look at that. It trades on Euronext. Many of you I know have been following what I've been doing in the crypto markets, the Dogecoin and so on and so forth. We are still long-term bullish on Bitcoin. We're bullish on Bitcoin Cash. We're bullish on Dogecoin, and we are bullish on Ethereum. And in the long run, it's a really great concept, the crypto. And of course, many of you saw the upcoming announcement of quad trillion, which is going to be a nature-related blockchain initiative. That's all I will say at this point. A nature-based blockchain initiative. Quad trillion. And if you Google that, you can learn all about that. And really I'm a bit limited by what I can say on here, because I have to, now if I break one rule now, I will lose my communication line to you, which I'm willing to do on something really, really important. I'm not somebody that's worried about, because, the funny thing is, and this is so interesting, the truth always finds a way of getting through. So, very, very exciting. Red Dawn says, France has developed a vaccine which is the traditional type and deals with the flu virus and not just a spike. Don't know what anyone thinks about this. England has a trial running in England, who has bought the vials, not sure how many. It's based in Portsmouth, I believe. It's not an mRNA. Well, I don't like the mRNA. Well, you know what? I'm actually not going to discuss vaccines. You see, you lure me into it. Red Dawn. You see, that probably, but I think I censored myself quicker than the censors could censor me. What a world we live in. Can you imagine that here we are at Camelot Castle, England, the birthplace of freedom, of democracy, of common law, the location of King Arthur's Round Table, and I cannot say to you over Facebook what I think. That's where we are, ladies and gentlemen. That is where we are. And with that thought, I will leave you, and I will ask you to communicate, get out into the pubs, make your views known, and share your ideas. We must somehow overturn this censorship situation. It's a horrible thought. We are living 1984. And actually, my dear wife said this is worse. She grew up in the Soviet Union. She said the level of censorship is worse than anything the communists were doing in the Soviet Union. They were not censoring people to this level, or monitoring this to this level. So, really, really good. Robert Plant's doing a great thing. Van Morrison's doing a great thing. Eric Clapton's doing a great thing. Hannah said that would be lovely to come over. Coffee morning, let's definitely do that. So important. We're going to try and keep you as updated as we can, but the best and safest way for me to keep you updated now is on Camelot TV Network on Telegram. So please do subscribe to that. Right Said Fred are doing some marvellous work. They were actually supposed to be here this weekend. In fact, Hannah, if you want to come over for drinks this evening at 6, there's some people here that you should meet. We're just having a little champagne cocktail party. If you want to pop over, you're more than welcome to 6 o'clock. Probably got time to get here. Anyway, that's what's going on. Connect groups together. Stay positive at all times. As I've learned from Nigel Farage, we have to be happy warriors. You know, people do not like doom and gloom. They like happiness, they like freedom, and we have to be the lights in the darkness for other people. We have to remain positive at all times, even though, you know, sometimes you might just want to go and cry your eyes out. You know I have done on a couple of occasions when I've seen the level of suppression that mankind is being hit with at the moment. And you go away and you have a good cry, and then you know what does you the world of good, and then take a walk and go and, you know, get back on the horse, as they say. Get back on the horse. Caspian, just as a little bit of an update, is absolutely hopping mad because a fox came along and ate 9 of his chickens. And in fact, foxes are lethal. I think foxes must be part of the deep state. Because you know what? They didn't even eat the chickens. They just killed them. And I wouldn't mind if a fox takes the odd chicken and eats it. You know, I don't mind that. But they just got into Caspian's chicken farm, which he'd very proudly created, and just killed, almost for the fun of it. So I have a theory that foxes may be part of the deep state, or an auxiliary unit to the deep state. But I'm very, very upset about this, and Caspian is distraught because his favourite chicken, Cleopatra, actually she wasn't killed, but she's been horribly hurt, and this is a shame. But you know, Caspian himself is a happy warrior, and he's going to work out how to sort that fox out, that's for sure, and legally, and he is basically a happy warrior, and the solution is obviously get some more eggs laid and hatch some more chickens, and that is the solution. Of course, I do believe chickens reincarnate as well, so it's not the end of the world for Cleopatra if she leaves us, and it's not the end of the world for Eagle if he has to leave us. Our favourite cockerel was sadly grabbed by the fox, and he's not doing very well at all. So prayers for cockerel, and prayers for Eagle, the cockerel, and prayers for Cleopatra, Caspian's favourite chicken. It's not nice. It's not something that any of us want to experience, but who wants to experience the deep state? And what is the solution? What is the solution to these things? The solution to these things is to stay positive. Life has its ups and downs. We accept these things. And where you see something good, where you see somebody trying to push life up the line, where you see somebody trying to be positive in the spite of adversity, do whatever you can to help them. And if any of you out there, if ever you need any help, you know my position is this: you can't help everybody, but if we can help you, we can. If we can help you, we will. So never feel shy to write to Camelot, to ask for help, and we will try to either help you personally or direct you to somewhere where you can get the help that you need. If anybody out there is depressed, we will send you to Dianetics. We won't send you there, we will direct you to take a look at Dianetics. If you have a friend that has a drug problem, we'd direct you to take a look at Narconon. For those of you that want to learn all the secrets of the universe and understand who you are as a spiritual being and understand God, we would direct you to Scientology. And so there's a number of things that we can help you with. And for those of you that need financial help, well, we've been helping 1 or 2 people. You know, we've had a very positive lockdown. Obviously, we've created DGB. That company is doing marvelously. When we acquired it, it was 66p on the stock exchange. It's now up to 169. So one of the reasons we work, frankly, is to be able to help people, to be able to share the blessings that God has blessed us with. And so if any of you do need help out there, please write. You can always write to tv@camelotcastle.com. And let's help people that are easy to help. Let's help people that are difficult to help. But let's focus on those people. If you see people out there that need a bit of help, reach out and do help them. And when you do that, you know what? A, you might create a friend and somebody that really appreciates what you've done for them. And B, that's the way to turn this thing around. Our government is not being helpful. They're presenting actually a betrayal as help. It's the mark of psychiatry. It's the mark of the deep state. They say that they're going to help you, but actually that help is betrayal. It's betrayal in the name of help. Christine Rust, thank you so much for putting up this website. Any of you but want to know the secrets to the universe? Some of you do, some of you don't. But if you do, there it is, Scientology TV, a whole TV channel, all the secrets of the universe on that TV channel. Some of you may know people that have a problem with drug addiction. If you do, there you go, narcanon.org. Narcanon.org. Somebody says, are you on Telegram? Yes, I am on Telegram. Camelot TV Network and Camelot TV Network Chat, which is the hive mind. And by the way, I want to thank all of you. I read all the posts, even the ones that are very rude about me. You know what? Nothing I love more than a good troll. I love a good troll. And what I don't like with trolls, though, is repetitiveness. What I like is original trolling, you see. So if you're going to troll me, do come up with something original. I know that you all love to say, yes, he put the flag of the letter that cannot be named on the roof, and he has been a Scientologist, and you troll me with that. You know what? If you think I haven't heard all this before, think again. I've been hearing this for 30 years. It just bores me to death. What I really enjoy is a really original hatchet job. Nothing. I collect them, by the way. So all of you journalists out there, get writing, do your best, do the best possible hatchet job you can do. And, I'll find it hilarious and I'll stick it in my loo where all the others are, and people can read them. So really, really, what bores me, all trolls are welcome, even the boring ones, but, don't be boring trolls, be original. Be original, try and come up with something new. Original thought, unleash the inner artist within in your trolling, and at least you might do something for your own creativity and give us all a laugh. But this repetitive stuff, such as, accusing me of being far right or a conspiracy theorist, or these types of things, absolutely, please, you just send everybody to sleep. So don't bother with it, try and be original. And for those of you out there that aren't trolls, which is the vast majority of you, somebody says Scientology.com or org. I think both work. Scientology.com works and Scientology.org works. Paige Graham says the forced isolation is very difficult. I'm looking more into Scientology. Yeah, do see the Scientology TV channel. It's really cool. It's really, really cool, and it's really fun. And if anybody tells you that it costs you a lot of money, let me tell you my story. I haven't maybe told you this before. When I became a Scientologist, I had no money. I could afford a Dianetics book, but that was about it. I was in Hollywood, and for some reason, I was an ebb in my finances. I'd had a successful business in England, but it had foundered. I wasn't as good in business as we are today, with this and that and the other thing. And I was 27 years old, and I was down to my last $600, and I was eating McDonald's most of the time because I really didn't want to run out of money. In America, you could actually get a Big Mac meal, which I quite like. My wife hates me eating Big Macs, but I like a good Big Mac meal. And you could get one of those in those days for $1 or maybe $2. I think it was about $1. So I was eating. It wasn't doing my complexion much good. But that's with $600 in your pocket in Beverly Hills and Los Angeles and Hollywood. You don't have too many girlfriends anyway, and you can't afford to take young ladies out to dinner. So it was a trade-off. Anyway, the day I walked into the Church of Scientology, I had $600 to my name. And I could afford to buy Dianetics, which in those days was about $5. These days is about $12. So I bought the book Dianetics. And when I started reading that book, I started to use what I learned. And so I say this to people: I've actually made many, many millions from understanding Scientology, you see. And yes, sure, you can pay and do the odd course, you can pay and do the odd counseling session if that's something that you want to do. But the knowledge in Scientology is just fantastic, and most of it is actually you can find for free on, most of the basic stuff you can find for free on the Scientology website. And the stuff that you can't find for free, and this is a little known fact, every Church of Scientology has a library. So even if you can't afford to buy Dianetics for £5, you can go into a Church of Scientology, you can use what is called the library, the church library, which is where you can go and borrow books. I know libraries are a thing of the past these days, but every Church of Scientology has a library. And you can sit there and you can study that subject for free. And nobody will have a problem with that. And you can keep on learning about it and learning about it and learning about it. And unless, to be honest with you, you are a complete, well, I'm not going to be mean about people that have study problems, but even in Scientology, see, even if you have a problem, one of the most powerful things about Scientology, and it's a little known fact, Tom Cruise himself became a Scientologist because he had a difficulty learning. Somebody had told him he was dyslexic. And he discovered, through a fellow actor, Emilio Estevez, that Scientology has a solution for learning difficulties. So any of you out there that consider yourselves or have been told that you are dyslexic, understand this, that there is actually a solution to dyslexia. And it exists, and it's something that Hubbard discovered. It's very powerful. I've studied it, and it actually results in somebody being super literate. So you can go from being dyslexic, as Tom Cruise was, to being super literate. Now, of course, he pilots his own jet. And to let you know, to pass those flying exams, to be able to fly a Gulfstream, you need to pass all sorts of exams. And that he has done. So has John Travolta. So, you know, they both can pilot their own planes. Those exams, I mean, you've got to be really keen to get through those exams. And you certainly have to be able to read and write and to study navigation. Now, so if this whole thing that the Daily Mail will tell you, you know, is that it costs a lot of money. Well, of course, if you're a fool, you can give money away to anything. You can give away your entire whatever's in your bank account in 10 minutes if you want to. But it's not common sense, and any sensible person lives within their means, and they only spend what they can afford to spend. So this was my experience. So when people say, well, has Scientology cost you a lot of money? The truth of the matter is it cost me, I went $5 down before I started going up in terms of what I made out of it. So I could say that, yes, initially I invested $5 in Scientology. Today you'd have to invest $12. Well, in fact, I don't think you would, because I think you could, it's all online, actually. So the Scientology TV channel is completely free. And then, you know, it's a pretty, you know, since then, my wife and I have made the odd donation. We're not the biggest donors, you know. It's a fault. It's a fault. I believe charity begins at home. I prefer to, I'm not the world's most generous of donors, but on the other hand, when one does well, you want to give back to the people that have helped you a little bit. So once in a while, we've done the odd little donation. You know, to help, let's say, get a drug rehab facility opened or something like that. Because you think, well, if that donation could actually get thousands of people off of drugs, that would be a good thing to do. And you feel sort of that that's a good thing to do. You know, it's an energy flow. And so that's that's my experience of it. What will your experience be? I don't know. What has your experience been? I don't know. And but that's my experience. That's my experience. Ken Farrar says there was a wonderful interview with Kirstie Alley and Tucker Carlson. Well worth watching. I agree with you, Ken. She did a marvellous job. Marvellous job. So Paige Graham says, thank you, John. There are a lot of negative things said about Scientology. It just seems to make sense to me. What you have to understand, that the three main things that caught my attention. I mean, Scientology is like a buffet of knowledge. It's like a buffet. It's like an all-you-can-eat buffet. And trust me, you could literally study it for the next 10 years. You wouldn't have studied it all, right? So it's a buffet. Some people like strawberries, some people like raspberries, some people like tart, some people like crumpet, as we know. Now, here's the thing. Three things that stood out for me, and maybe it's just what I saw in 1990 when I met dear Ken Ferrara in a tent at the Scientology Celebrity Center in Los Angeles. He actually sold me the first course I bought after reading Dianetics, after I'd made a little bit of money. Ken sold me that course, and I think it was all of $70. That course was, Ken. And that course was actually called the Ups and Downs in Life course. And some of you may have noticed life gets better, and it gets worse, and then it gets better, and it gets worse. And some people are what's called on a roller coaster of existence. Their life feels like one big roller coaster. They're going better, and then it's getting worse, and then it's getting better, and then it's getting worse. It's a roller coaster. And there is a course in Scientology called the Ups and Downs course, and it teaches you why the roller coastering occurs. And once you understand why it occurs, you can actually prevent the roller coastering. So life, instead of doing this, businesses do this, countries do this. In fact, the UK is a fantastic example of a roller coastering country. 1 minute we think we're coming out of lockdown, then we're not coming out of lockdown, then we're going into lockdown. Okay, so there's a reason for roller coastering, and that roller coastering can be handled, and then you get a life that does this. It just sort of goes, gently improves, and that's the natural. That's how life should naturally be. Life should naturally get better and better. So if you find yourself roller coastering like this, going up 1 minute, down the next minute, up 1 minute, down, I've got that wrong, I'm up 1 minute, down the next minute, up the next, right, like that. If you find yourself doing that, then you may find that this particular course, it's called Ups and Downs in Life, which I bought in 1990, November 1990, Ken Ferrara, and it was, he sold me that course, and he said, I think you'll find this interesting, and sure enough I did. And after I had finished that course, with obviously the odd blip, we're all allowed an odd blip, more or less life has been an improvement. So, yes, I forgot what I was talking about before then, but absolutely. Anne Elizabeth says, you and Irina have helped so many during the last year or more. Thank you for your humanity and kindness. Wow. We have reached a lot of people. I worked it out the other day. It was over 100 million during lockdown. 100 million people. Because, ideas filter out. We really have. So, Greg Boyd, you see, Greg is a Scientologist. You can ask him all about it if you want to. And he said, my experience has been amazing. I love the subject. It has helped me infinitely. Wow. Yes. We have to keep communicating, don't we? So important that we are here, and we have to be happy warriors. That's what I was talking about. We have to be happy warriors. We have to remember that we are lights in the darkness for a lot of people out there. And eventually, they will become lights too. And there you see the piano's going again at Camelot. That's nice. Can you hear that piano in the background? We bought a lovely Bluthner just before lockdown, and it really hasn't had the chance to be played. But I always like it. Sounds as if someone's playing the piano here very nicely. In fact, I think I'm going to go and listen to them. It's really a pleasure to have you all back here, and let's keep communicating, let's stay positive, and let's enjoy what the future brings and stay positive.
you.